Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to those listening or watching this episode of the Talking Sports Podcast. Playoff basketball is here. There's a lot to get into today. So let's just get into it. Before we get into our main topic of the NBA playoffs, just want to mention some news in the sports world. Right now, a couple of days ago, the Arizona Coyotes they finalized their move to Salt Lake City for $1.2 billion. And so we see NHL hockey team moving to Salt Lake City. And to me, it just makes sense that, the hockey team would be there in Utah. So shout out to Utah, shout out to Salt Lake City for, gaining that market, gaining that team there. And so for all of our hockey fans out there, let us know what you think about the Arizona Coyotes moving to Salt Lake City and what you think that'll do for their market and just that team in general. Moving on, Champions League, very important soccer tournament across the world. The quarterfinals just ended a couple days ago. And so we saw Barcelona versus PSG. In that matchup, PSG moves on to the semifinals. In that battle with Barcelona, and they won 6-4 on aggregate. Rafinha scored the opener for Barcelona, but after Arajo's, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, his red card in the 29th minute, Barca, they just, would always be on their back foot and just, having to defend, being a man down. So that was always going to be difficult for them. And that was in the 29th minute. But not only that, Xavi, the manager, he got a red card also in the 55th minute. And that just proved to be too much for Barcelona in the end. And Xavi's always been an emotional player, and now that he's, manager for Barcelona, the team that he played with for Spain, his home country, his club team there in Spain, emotions just get high, and that can be understandable sometimes, but in a situation like that, you got to keep a level head, at least try to. But the goals were from Mbappe. He had a beautiful, impossible penalty strike, and Dembele and Vitinha. And so they won 4-1, and again, 6-4 on aggregate. So PSG will be moving on. So the next game in the quarterfinals was Bayern versus Arsenal. Arsenal, they just couldn't get over the hump. Unfortunately, with the game in England ending at 2-2, a lot of us thought that Arsenal would be able to advance and move on. But there was a goal by Kimmich in the 63rd minute, and that pushed them through. Bayern, they were not the team that they have been in the past. There's been a lot of turnover with the team, but I believe that they have good leaders. Harry Kane is a great goal scorer, a great captain, striker for them. And, they lost the Bundesliga, but they have a chance in the UCL. So Arsenal, they had momentum, and they've been a good team for a while. But, again, they just can't get over the hump. And it seemed like it was their time, but, they just had some defensive lapses, and Kimmich in the 63rd minute, he was a free header. He was just wide open. A lot of good movement on that header, and the man marking was just poor. And so momentum swing for Bayern, and they were able to move on through. So the next match that was in the quarterfinals was Dortmund versus Atletico Madrid. Dortmund, they're for real. They are they don't have as many stars as they've had in the past, with Holland being gone and Aubameyang being gone. But I think this team gels together, and they play very well together, and they have a lot of leaders and a lot of veterans who have been playing, and they know how to win, and they know how to play together. So that's very important in soccer, especially. This is their first Champions League semifinal in 11 years after a dramatic 5-4 aggregate win over Atletico Madrid. They trailed 2-1 in the first leg, but first half goals from Julian Brandt and Ian Maatsen swung the tide in Dortmund's favor, and they were able to pull it out in the end. But it's no coincidence that after Morata leaves the pitch in the second half, Atletico's offense starts to flourish, and we saw Morata have almost a wide open goal, and he just misses it. I definitely thought he should have used his right foot there, because he was more on the right side once he got free, and so giving him more space, the right foot would have probably been a better option, in my opinion. And he just needed a flick because the goalie had come out, but he used his left foot, and it just spun a little bit wide off of the right post there. And so, tough outing for Atletico, but we see Dortmund move on there. And this game, in my opinion, was probably the best game. Dortmund versus Atletico. It was just back and forth, a lot of great goals. As a guy who used to play soccer, I was always striker or midfielder, so I like a lot of offense. So that game was fun to watch for sure. And the last game of the quarterfinals was really a heavyweight matchup when we saw Real Madrid versus Man City. And this was a tactics over talent game. First leg, 3-3, and in the first leg, and very exciting game. And this one in the second leg was less exciting, but it did go to penalties, and penalties are always exciting. But Real scored early from Rodrigo in the 12th minute, and De Bruyne scored in the 76th minute to send it in the extra time and penalties. But I want to give a shout out to Lunin. He played in penalties. He played an incredible game. His blocks and stops were excellent, and the fact that he was able to stop Bernardo Silva's penalty that was just right in the center was just outstanding awareness there from him. Most times goalies, they either go left or they go right, but he didn't. He chose to stay, and again, great awareness from him, and I feel like he was the reason why Real was able to move on in the next into the next round for the Champions League. We saw Ederson. We saw him score a goal in penalties, and it's becoming a little bit more frequent, but it's still kind of rare where you see goalies take penalties. But Ederson has that capability, and he put it in the back of the net. That's important. Maybe he was not a goalie in his younger years, but we saw him put it in the back of the net, and so that was good on him. Penalties were finished off by Rudiger for Real, and as a Chelsea fan, I absolutely miss Rudiger as a defender. He was excellent for us, and we see him now as a back for Real, and he's just playing great football, and you know he can be a definite a great piece for Real, and could ascend them to championship of the Champions League. And so we'll see what happens. Next matchups for Real is Bayern Munich. They will face off in the semifinals, and Dortmund will face off against PSG. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think about Champions League quarterfinals and who you think is going to make it to the final after these semifinal games. And shout out to Jeremiah for just helping me with the breakdown and analysis for these games. Shout out to you, Jeremiah. But as we transition into our main topic for today, the NBA playoffs are set. Last night, we saw the New Orleans Pelicans defeat the Sacramento Kings, and they played a great game. And even without Zion, they were able to pull it out and get the victory. They have played the Sacramento Kings very well all season long, and they ended up being 6-0 against them with the play-in game last night, and also the in-season tournament game where they played as well and they won. And you don't see that very often where one team just completely dominates another team. I don't know what it is. They just have their number. Kings, again, just don't play very well against them, and we saw the Pelicans win. So they advance in the playoffs and are playing against the OKC Thunder, and that game is Sunday as I'm recording this. So that's going to be the 1-8 matchup, and so we'll start there. I do believe that the Pelicans are coming in with a little bit of momentum, especially after winning the game against the Kings. And so that is going to help them for sure. But I believe that the Thunder, despite their youth, despite their inexperience in the playoffs, I believe that they're going to take this series in 5. And so I've got the Thunder advancing over the Pelicans in 5. We'll stay on the West, and we'll go with Nuggets versus the Lakers. And I think this is the most anticipated series. This is a rematch of the conference finals last year in the Western Conference. LeBron James, AD versus Nikola Jokic and Murray. And so, again, rematch. I believe the Lakers are going to take this. I am a Lakers fan, so it might be a little bit biased, but I really think that this is going to be a different series. The Lakers are coming in healthy. They are missing Jared Vanderbilt right now. He's still battling an injured foot, but other than that, they've got Gabe Vincent back. He's played a few games. He's looking better and better each game. LeBron is playing well. If we can get D'Lo to have a great series, I think that's gonna help for sure. Defensively, like I said in my last video, defensively he's gonna have to play well against Jamal Murray, or whoever he's guarding. That's gonna help him stay on the court and keep him on the floor offensively. If he can score, that's just an added bonus. We're gonna need bench production. I think if we can have bench production when LeBron is out, I think that's gonna be very important, because the Nuggets, they have lost some pieces on their bench this season. Jeff Green and Bruce Brown from last season. Now they still do have Peyton Watson and Christian Brown, but those guys, I don't think they're gonna see a big of a role. And if the Lakers can take advantage of the minutes where Jokic is off the floor, that's going to be very important for their chances. It's going to be a close series, obviously. But I just see a healthy Lakers team, focused. First round is, different. They're more fresh this season instead of, last season being in the conference finals where they had already gone through, some series before that. And so the Nuggets they're a tough team, obviously. And, the Lakers may get blown out a couple times, but I do think that Lakers team, a second time around in the playoffs going against this team consecutively will have a better scheme, better game plan. And I think the Lakers take this one in 7. So moving on to our next series, we see the Timberwolves, 3 seed, going against the Phoenix Suns. They are the 6 seed. And I'm going to take the Suns here. I believe that they're playing their best basketball right now, Phoenix is. And I just think the 3-headed monster of KD, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal is going to be too much for Minnesota. Minnesota's offense can be stagnant sometimes. I do understand that they have Anthony Edwards, and he's a superstar. But I just don't know how he's going to play. He's averaging 14 points against his team in the regular season. And I know it's playoffs and, it's different. But he's going to need to be the guy. Rudy Gobert is not really an offensive threat. And, with the style of play that the Suns do play, is Gobert going to have much of a series? Is he going to be able to really dominate defensively like he normally does when, the Suns are really guard-led and guard-driven, besides KD being a big wing or a tall wing? So it's going to be a very interesting series with especially Cat coming back from his injury. He's coming back. Maybe this is his 3rd or 4th game back after his injury. And so how will he come back from his injury is a question that, is going to present itself in the series. And, just being incorporated back into the team at a crucial moment when they're kind of used to playing without him. How are they gonna play? How are they gonna incorporate him into the offense and into the team? And who's he gonna guard? That's another big question that I was really thinking about, because yes, KD is basically 7 foot, but he's mainly on the perimeter. Now he can drive, he can post, but I just feel like Cat might get taken advantage of. And so that's the reason why I'm picking the Suns in this series. I just think, the Suns offense is going to be too much. But that's the matchup. It's Suns offense versus Minnesota's defense. And whoever can get the best of, that unit is gonna eventually win the series. So moving on to the Clippers 4 seed versus the Mavericks 5 seed. I'm taking the Mavs here. Mavs in 6. Kawhi is not healthy. There's still swelling in his knee. But again, this is another team that's, been dominant. And they really have been playing well the latter part of the season after the All-Star break. And I just think it's Luka's time. And it's ironic that he's going against the Clippers here because he's had 2 series against the Clippers before and he's lost them both. I'm going to say 3rd time is the charm here. And I'm taking Luka and I'm taking the Mavericks in 6. I don't trust James Harden in the playoffs. I don't think he's going to play well at all. And, with Kawhi's injury and James Harden not really being a good playoff player anymore, I'm going to take the Mavericks in 6. So moving on to the Eastern Conference, and I'm just getting my notes here. We have the Boston Celtics versus the Miami Heat. And we saw the Heat as well take advantage of the Chicago Bulls. And they were able to win that series in convincing fashion without Jimmy Butler. And so that's very important for them, for their confidence for sure. And so, I just think this series is going to be different. A lot of people are picking the Celtics in a sweep or in 5. I'm actually picking the Celtics in 6, just due to the fact that it's the Miami Heat. Spoelstra, I believe, is the best coach right now in these playoffs, and you will see that as this series starts and goes on. He's going to coach a great series. Defensively, Miami, they're an incredible team. And I mean, that's who they are. That's who they've been since, after D Wade and Braun and Bosh left. They've kind of flipped to more of a defensive team. I think that's their philosophy as a coach and an organization. They want to play good defense, and Spoelstra is an incredible coach for that. And I just think that the Celtics, I think they're going to have one bad shooting game, and the Heat are going to take advantage of that. And I think that Bam and Tyler Hero, they're going to have a good shooting game. They're going to, go for 50 or 60 points in one game, and they'll take it. But ultimately, I do believe that the Celtics will take this in 6, but it's just going to be a more difficult series than people are saying. That's just my opinion. But yes, I'm taking the Celtics in 6. The next series for the Eastern Conference is the 2 versus the 7, which is the New York Knicks versus the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm going to take the Knicks in 7 here. And the question is, how will Joel play, and how are the Knicks going to guard him? He's a mismatch for them. They have Isaiah Hartenstein and they have Mitchell Robinson, but I just don't think that they can really guard him like they would really want to. The Knicks, they have some solid defenders in OG, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, and Jalen Brunson is their catalyst. He's what makes the team go. But for the Knicks, it's just going to be a situation where they're going to have to rely on Jalen for their offense. And what I really want to see is, the Knicks, they've been playing playoff basketball essentially for, a couple months now. They've had to fight, and Jalen Brunson has, played very, very well. He's going to get first or second NBA first team or second team. So he's definitely a great player, but they've been playing a lot of minutes. And, with Coach Tibbs and his philosophy of, always play to win, and, no load management, and playing his guys 48 minutes the whole game. I just want to see how that works for them into the playoffs. Most teams want to hit another gear going into the playoffs, but Coach Tibbs and his philosophy and the Knicks right now, they're playing playoff basketball the entire season. And so you wonder, are they going to get tired? Are they going to, tire themselves out? Are they going to, struggle to hit shots? Because, when you're tired, shots don't fall typically. So it's going to be very interesting. Joel is going to be a matchup problem for them. They're going to have to scheme up something serious to really, really make sure that he's, not at his peak. He is still injured. I don't believe he's 100%. For sure, these days off have helped him, but I still don't think he's 100%. So we'll see if he's hampered in any way, if he's fatigued, and if that is going to hurt the 76ers. But I feel like they have a good team around him. Maxey, of course, he's going to be an important factor. We'll see if he's able to score on this defense of the Knicks. It's going to be a very interesting, very fun series. When the Knicks are good, NBA is good. So, it's going to be a lot of celebrities there. It's coming on at a good time, prime time game today as I'm recording this on Saturday. But yeah, it's going to be a fun series. I'm taking the Knicks in 7. The next series, we have the Bucks versus the Pacers. And this is going to be my favorite series because we saw it in the regular season. The Pacers dominated this series, and Giannis played most of those games, but the Pacers just able to score, and they play fast, and even though Giannis plays well, the Pacers they score and they play fast and they do it the right way. So this is going to be my favorite series for sure to watch. I'm taking the Pacers in 7. I got a lot of upsets. I got quite a few upsets this playoff, so it's gonna be very interesting to see how it goes. Giannis is injured right now. If he misses 1 or 2 games, that's definitely gonna swing. The tide for the Pacers, I believe, and swing them. They're gonna have the momentum, and I think they're gonna be favored to win, especially if Giannis misses 2 games, but he could come back and, they could, take 4 out of 6. You never know. You never know how it's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen, really. But Doc Rivers, this is a chance for him to, right his wrongs. And he has a team that they can make it. They can make it in this playoffs, and they can do some things. They have a good matchup. They don't have to go against the Celtics. They don't have to go against the Heat. So, those are teams that they've struggled with in the past. So they have a shot. It's just, depending on Dame, how is he going to play in his first playoffs with this team? Is Chris Middleton going to be able to be that second guy again like he was with Giannis, in years past? So a lot of questions with the Bucks. But they have an opportunity to really, make a statement, in this first game, and we'll see what happens. But I'm taking the Pacers in 7. I like Tyrese Halliburton. I think he's going to be healthy, and I think he's ready to make a run in these playoffs for sure. Next series. And last series in the Eastern Conference is Cavs versus Magic. I'm taking the Magic in 7. Magic are young. They're unexperienced for the most part. This is probably going to be their first playoffs for most of them. But I want to talk about the Cavs because they lost their final game of the season against the Hornets to get this matchup. And I'm just not really cool with that. I'm a believer in winning games. And I think personally that it's disrespectful to lose just so you can say, oh, I want them. And so we'll see if the Magic are able to, use that as fuel to their fire to help them to, make a statement in this series. I do believe that defensively, both of these teams are very well coached, very defensive squads. I think it's going to be a rock fight. Orlando is going to need offensive, really offensive punches to really match up with Donovan Mitchell and Garland's ability to move the ball. And if Orlando can score and get points and hit some threes and defend Donovan Mitchell like they really need to, then they've really got a shot. I'm picking the Magic in 7, just due to the fact that, I'm not cool with, losing a game just to get that matchup. I'm really taking offense to that if I'm a Magic player. And so, that's really where I stand with that. But I do think that the Magic can win it even still, just due to their defense. So, yeah, just to recap, I got Celtics in 6, Knicks in 7, Pacers in 7, Magic in 7. On the West Coast, I've got Thunder in 5, Lakers in 7. Let's see, that's the 3 versus 6. I got the Suns in 6, and last but definitely not least, the let's see what I've got here. It is the 4 versus the 5. That would be the Clippers versus the Mavericks. And so I've got Mavericks in 6. Let me know down in the comment section who you all are taking for these first round matchups. Follow me on Twitter at TSPJDN, where you're going to get a lot of reactions and just my thoughts to these games as I'm watching them. And hit the notification bell so you see when I'm posting all of the content. And subscribe to the channel. Like the video. And we're on a road to 100 subscribers. We're about halfway there. Thank you guys so much for those who have subscribed. And I'm looking forward to watching these games. Go Lakers. And we will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.